Is it possible to homeschool and keep a clean house? The answer might surprise you. I'm Misty Winkler, and you are watching Simply Convivial, where we talk about homeschooling, homemaking, and doing life cheerfully. If this is the kind of content you like to see on YouTube, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, because I publish multiple times a week to encourage moms to dig into their work at home, because it truly does matter. It's a truth universally acknowledged that a homeschool mom in possession of a large family must be in want of a housekeeper. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Some families actually can swing it, but most of us are on our own when it comes to keeping up with both school and home. Of course, we can bring the kids on board, and sometimes husbands lend a hand too, but there's just a lot to do. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about 3 things that we can do to help us juggle housework and homeschooling and remain sane while doing so. Let's dig in. The school year is almost over, but that makes it exactly the right time to audit your home routines, to look at what is working and what has definitely not worked, to figure out what to do this summer so that we can set ourselves up for a better year next year. That's what we're always after, right? Next year is always going to be better. So here are 3 ways that we can make it possible to keep the house functioning, not as a showcase, but as a functioning facility for learning and growing in our family. We want our house to not be something that's getting in our way while we are doing life. That's our goal with cleaning house. And that points to the first way that we can approach our work better, and is to manage our expectations. What does a clean house really mean? Let's think about that. Maybe look around your house and notice what it is and what you would like it to be. Maybe our expectations are too high. Maybe we're trying to keep a pristine house with everything placed just so. If that's the case, then we're going to be continually frustrated with the reality of having multiple children in the house all day, every day. Our homes are stages upon which the drama of life is played out. Our homes are not stages for magazine shoots where we have idealized stasis, static beauty. Instead, our homes are backdrops that facilitate or inhibit the life played out within the 4 walls. When we tidy things up again, our efforts are not futile. Our efforts are those of a stage manager getting ready for the next scene. Maybe your expectations are not too high, but too low. Maybe you've given up. I have been there for sure. If you think it's impossible to keep on top of clean dishes and clothes, and if you've just accepted that there's going to be clutter everywhere all the time, and it's just the inevitable way things are, then you might need to gear up and level up. Our homes are tools to be used. If through neglect or despair, we let them become dull and rusty and rotting, then they aren't going to be helpful tools to accomplish our callings. when we can't find the book that we need, when no one has clean socks, when you can't go barefoot in the house because of the crumbs. Our houses are hindering and not helping. How we think about our homes and our work matters. Most of our frustrations actually come from bad attitudes and false expectations. Let's not give up on the work. Instead, let's give up the resentment about the work. The second thing that we can do to better manage housekeeping while homeschooling is to think in intervals. We can't do everything every day. When we're rocking that homeschool schedule, the house will show it. When we're getting the house clean and going all in on the chore system, often that means the school routines aren't quite cutting it. Our energies can only be spread so far, and often there really is simply not enough to go around to all the things that we would like to do. Rightly, in those cases, the house gets the leftovers. It is not the children who should be getting the leftovers. In order to make those leftovers still stretch a long way, we need to break up our projects and our terms into sprints that I like to call intervals. Every 6 to 8 weeks or so, take a long weekend, at the very least, a whole week if you can manage it. Skip the school, focus on the house. Clear the clutter, dust the shelves, do what needs to be done to keep you sane and that space functional. We can really only focus on 1 or 2 things well per day. So find a way to make that work rather than trying to force more in. Maybe schedule Saturdays for extra morning chores. Instead of trying to do everything all the time, every day, give yourself 1 or 2 days every 6 to 8 weeks to pull the house back together. Then accept that the house will fray at the edges for a time, but you know that you will get to that. So you don't have to worry about it continuing to just get worse and worse. You have a plan for addressing it, and the time will come and you will pull things back together. Instead of letting the state of the house drag you down, you've taken it into account in your plan and you will deal with it when the time comes. Now, the third way to manage homeschooling and housekeeping both is a daily habit. It is to create a family Ehap habit. Ehap is our family name for a quick afternoon tidy. It's an acronym for everything has a place, and the implication is that we should be putting things in their places. When we regularly, I mean daily, bustle around the house, simply put things back where they belong, it is staggering what a difference it makes, not only to the state of the house, but also in the state of our minds and in our relationships. There is literally nothing cluttering the path. It makes the effort of establishing this Ehap habit worth it. And the more we practice it, the easier it becomes. If it feels hard to juggle life, homeschooling, and housework, that's okay. It is hard, but it is also our calling. And we will find joy and satisfaction when we throw ourselves wholeheartedly into the work. Of these 3 tips for juggling housework and homeschooling, the final one, Ehap, is the real linchpin for keeping the house functional and livable while living an active life. And that's why I created the Ehap guide, which you can get for free by going to simplyconvivial.com/Ehap, EHAP. You can download that free guide, which will walk you through the process of setting up an effective everyday tidy routine, that's Ehap, that will work for your family to keep the stuff under control. Go to simplyconvivial.com/EHAP to find that free guide and build an effective daily tidy up habit, while always remembering to repent, rejoice, repeat.